Hello everybody, welcome back to Destiny 2. Today we're going to be going over an Arc Vesper Radius build for the Warlock. This is a pretty underrated build, I'd say. I used this in day one for both your Ute and for Crota during the most recent contest mode raid. And it did really well. It's good against Arc Shield, it's good against just general, it's good for general play, it's good for high-end content, it's just a good build. So, getting right into it with the subclass first, we're using Chaos Reach, obviously. Stormcaller, or just Stormtrance in general, is pretty good for ad clear, but you want this for damage, especially because the rest of the kit is really good at ad clear. We're using Healing Rift and Burst Glide. Obviously, we're using a Ball of Lightning. Chain Lightning's good, but being able to throw this at a distance is really nice. We're using Pulse Nade. This is just the overall best nade for Arc, I'd say. That and Storm Nade. You could swap to as well if you like that better. I just prefer Pulse Nade. It's very consistent. We're using Electrostatic Mind, so defeating targets with Arc abilities or defeating jolted or blinded targets create an Ionic Trace, which makes you amplified and gives you some ability energy. And then Arc Soul, so casting a Rift makes an Arc Soul that fires at a target in front of you, and allies can also get it. And while amplified, your Arc Souls are supercharged and gain increased fire rate. You're almost always amplified, so they have this feature. This is just an extra thing shooting at things. Super nice. Just doing that little bit extra damage. For fragments, we are using Spark of Magnitude, so your lingering Arc Grenades, Lightning Grenade, Pulse Nade, and Storm Grenade have extended duration. Spark of Shock, your Arc Grenades jolt targets, this is really helpful. Spark of Ions, defeating a jolted target creates an Ionic Trace. And Spark of Resistance, while surrounded by combatants, you are more resistant to incoming damage. This is just really good for just some damage resistance. In terms of the weapons, you can basically use whatever you want. I have an Arc Siphon on my helmet, so I use an Arc Primary, or like a Path of Least Resistance, or Forbearance is really good. Then obviously whatever you want in the other slots for weapons, bequests, really anything that fits. For armor mod or exotics, I'll go over first. I'm using Vesper of Radius, which is an exotic chest piece, obviously. Rifts periodically release arc shockwaves. Final blows with these shockwaves create an arc explosion. While an arc subclass is equipped, the shockwaves and subsequent explosions blind nearby targets. Rift energy recharges faster when you're surrounded by targets. So this is really good. On top of that damage resistance we have, being in the middle of all the enemies will make your Rift recharge faster and blind targets and do a bunch of damage. So what I like to do is I usually get, in high-end content, I get a bunch of enemies weak, run in the front of all of them, pop it down, explosions everywhere. Or just in low-end content, it's really good as well. It blinds targets with it as well, so they won't be shooting back while they're taking damage from the Rift, and they usually stay in the same area they get blinded at. They don't usually run away, so it's pretty good for that. So this is a really good ad clear and just zone, I guess, a holding exotic. Like I said, in day one, going up to the Knights, plopping this down, keeping them blinded while you're attacking them is super good. Blinding is just a super underrated, I guess it's not really underrated anymore, but it's just a super good thing to have now, where, you know, they won't be shooting back, so it's obviously pretty good for like a day one where if you get shot, you're going to die because everything does crazy damage. I also put this down where the Ogre spawn and the Swordbearer did, so I can blind everything there, so it's super nice to have. On top of it, just doing really good damage. Now we'll get into the armor mods. For the helmet, we are running 2 Ashes to Asset and the Harmonic Siphon. You can change this out for like a Finder if you're not really using arc weapons. For the gauntlets, I'm using Fastball, so I can just throw my nade further. Bolstering detonation, so class ability energy when you cause damage with a grenade. You're going to be getting your grenade back a lot. And then I also have firepower, so we get an orb from a grenade kill. On the chest piece, run resistances. I'm using Lucent Blades just because I'm using a sword. On the boots here, Innervation, Insulation, and Elemental Charge. So collecting an Ionic Trace in our case has an escalated chance to get you an armor charge. Just another way to get an armor charge. Then on the bond, I'm using Powerful Traction, so Orb's Power will come near you. When you activate your class ability, that's a different one. And then 2 copies of Utility Kickstart, so when I use my Well, or my Rift, I get it back. or I get back a lot of energy for it. So yeah, super nice. In terms of artifact mods here, things like Monochromatic Maestro is really good. Elemental Embrace, if you want to use the Elemental Orb Arc, that's also really nice, which will jolt targets. But yeah, that's basically it for the build. It's super strong in all forms of content, just kind of one of those nice arc builds you can use. I'm going to leave some Lost Sector footage here, Legend Lost Sector footage, where I'm, gosh, what was I? Super far below? Yeah, so like, what is that? That's like 10 below, 20, or 13 below or so, whatever it is. So yeah, that is basically all for the video. I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys try out the build. It's super strong. Definitely an underrated pick. You'll see when the gameplay rolls in that it doesn't look or sound too impressive, or it's just like, oh yeah, you're just putting down rifts. But I mean, you're basically always in a rift, so you're always healing, you're doing damage, you're blinding targets around. You can even, put on a blinding nade, so you have, even more blinding. So super nice. Hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you in the next video.